It's time for another edition of the DDT Show, covering everything you need to know in the world of sports. Here are your hosts, David Coyer, Dane McElwee, and Trevor Davis.
You think you know me?
It is finally here. The crossover event, the most hyped up crossover event in Macomb sports podcast history. It's the DDT Show and Wake Up with Will coming together for one time and maybe one time only. That's right. It's me. It's that D-A-V-I-D, David Coyer, Dane McElwee, Trevor Davis, and our good friend from Wake Up with Will on Wednesdays. I think you need to add the third W. It's Will Thomas. Will, thank you for coming to the DDT Show.
Thanks for having me, guys. You know, we've been talking about this for, I don't know, forever about getting me on here, and I appreciate you making the time to get me on here and really support my podcast.
We give you a shout out at least once an episode.
I do it the same thing. All my listeners from this week's show know that I'm on this podcast today. My mom's already been calling me, asking me about this podcast. So there's another listener you're gonna get. So
actually,
you're
before
nice
we
guy.
get started,
I love you, Will.
I realized what I haven't done yet, because we usually like to have technical difficulties on the DDT Show. I'm gonna switch over to my phone's hotspot before we crash like halfway through the episode. I can edit out the part where we head over to my hotspot. 1 second. Boom. And we are set. There we go. Hello.
Sweet.
Okay, we're back. Technical difficulties. We don't like those on the DDT Show, but Wake Up with Will. Will Thomas is on the DDT Show this morning. Our second special guest of the fall. Of course, last week we had head coach Andy Pasco from the WIU baseball team. Speaking of Andy Pasco from the WIU baseball team, might as well just take that and roll with it into what we're going to talk about today. And, well, it was a great week for baseball. And in my opinion, the only thing that could have made it better was if I got to watch the Brewers play, but that wasn't until tonight. So it will make do with what happened. It was a heck of a week for baseball. And, I mean, let's just dive right in with what happened on Tuesday. I mean, Tuesday was the American League wild card game. Red Sox Yankees. It's the rivalry of baseball, potentially even the rivalry of sports. And it lived up to the hype. Like, that was probably one of the most entertaining baseball games to watch. Trevor was happy because the Red Sox, came out with that win. So Trevor, I mean, let's just start with you. What was your favorite moment from Tuesday's game, and what did you see? What did you like about Tuesday's game? Let's start with that.
Well, I like that they won. The Red Sox won. Big fan of that. I really liked that. But my favorite moment, I don't know. I feel like it's either tied for when Bogarts hit that 2-run home run because he had been really, really cold, and that was like a big, breaking out moment, or when Kel Schwarber hit that baseball to the moon. It's kind of tied between those two. The relay to cut down Judge at the plate was also really cool, but I just think one of those two home runs was the big moment for me, at least. They bounced Garrett Cole in the third inning, which was fantastic. Nothing like paying a guy $300 million to show up in the biggest spot. He just really showed up, really got it done, didn't he? But I think Evaldi was really, really good that game. He went 5-ish, I believe, with 2 hits. One of them didn't even make it out of the infield. It was like a little dribbler type thing. So he was really, really good. And then the bullpen, which has been very scary, actually pitched very well after his departure, which I really liked. It was just a really, really fun game to watch, especially as a Red Sox fan. I'm sure it was an entertaining game, regardless of whether or not you had any rooting interest in that game. But
I think the only thing for me, and then Will and Dane, we'll obviously get to you. I think the thing for me that wasn't entertaining about it which is, I think it's kind of almost been a consensus, which sucks, but it's the broadcast in general, like Matt Vasgersian, Alex Rodriguez. Now there were the two broadcasts. There was Jason
I was on
Benetti.
ESPN too.
Yeah, there was the
Jason
ESPN
Benetti and
2
Eduardo
one.
Perez are like 10,000 times better than Vasgersian and A-Rod.
Yeah, and we can have this conversation maybe on a later episode or even later today. But I don't have a problem with Matt Vasgersian. He's not my favorite, but I don't have a problem with him. It was just A-Rod's just unbearable. And so I think that was just, it distracted me from the game at some points. Otherwise, I thought it was an absolutely fantastic game. It was quite an entertaining game. But Will, what was your favorite moment from the game, or what did you see in the game? Like, trying to break it down. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm kind of doing this just on the fly, guys. It's early in the morning.
It is. It's an early Friday, and it's just all over the place. No, first of all, the greatest thing that happened was the Red Sox won because I had money on the game. So that just made my night better. But I look at that game and I look how different that game could have been if Giancarlo Stanton's two long singles weren't long singles. Like, and then the Judge rundown, like, I think that could have changed the game dramatically. And I'm happy it didn't. But going back and looking at, like, those were key plays that was just like, he pulls that ball a little more, it's over the green monster. Like, he doesn't hit it to that one spot in Fenway Park. Like, who knows what could happen? And then sending Judge home, terrible idea. He's got out by a mile. But it's just like little things like that. I'm so happy the Red Sox won. Super happy. But I just look, I'm just like, the game could have been totally different if 2 or 3 things didn't happen.
I hate the Yankees. Like,
I'm not.
It's just like, so it was no doubt in my mind that I was gonna be rooting for the Red Sox that game. Will, basically, I'm just gonna play off of Will because those were literally what I was gonna say are my favorite moments. My favorite moments are that Giancarlo Stanton had not 1 but 2 moonshots that in any other ballpark are home runs, but instead hit off of that towering green monster out in left field. And on the first one, everyone, including Stanton, the camera guy, and Matt Vasgersian, and the Yankees broadcaster, all thought that those were gone. Matt Vasgersian quickly corrected himself. The Yankees radio broadcaster did not. Have you guys heard that?
It's brutal.
What did I see wrong?
What did I miss? It's just like, basically Stanton is standing on first base and this guy is just going after it and talking about how it's the greatest thing. And then he's like, wait a minute, what did I miss? He's standing on first. And then Judge said, when he got tagged out, I was like so happy because I'm just like, that's the dumbest thing to be doing right there. It was also just a really good relay. You can never beat a really good relay. Like Trevor was kind of saying before, it's so, for me, it's aesthetically pleasing to watch when you just have center field to shortstop, great throw home, or even if you just skip the cutoff man and you just have that laser from the outfield to the catcher and tag a guy out. It's just so aesthetically satisfying. And I love watching it. Dane McElwee, looking all cute over there.
How are y'all doing today?
What was your favorite moment from Tuesday's game?
Well, so I will say, as all 3 of you know, I am just an absolute softball stud, and I play softball on Tuesday nights. I was not able to watch the game. So instead, I listened to it with my phone in my pocket in right field. Great time. So my favorite point of the game was hearing.
You got moved to right field?
Oh, I moved myself. I didn't want to make any plays.
Dude, he's the MVP.
Dude, I'm an absolute stud. I'm a stud. Come watch me at Downing Park in Macomb, Illinois. You can watch me hit some absolute bombs.
For those of you who don't know, Dane used to be the left fielder, and he'd let a lot of balls get by him, but then he'd have a nice diving play here and there, and it'd be really cool to watch. But then he'd limp in from left field.
I've let one ball go by me this year.
He's like Nelson Cruz. They gotta like hide him in right field. Just kind of hope
I basically
the ball doesn't get hit to him.
No,
he Smalls from the Sandlot, just holding his glove up, just Come on, catch
Our
it.
right fielder
Catch
wanted some action. So I was like, hey, guy, you're the team captain. You can go to left field. I'm okay with it. As long as maybe I can just like be the DHH and just hit as many bombs as I want. Okay, we're getting off topic, guys. If you want to see me hit home runs, come Tuesday nights or Sundays in Bushnell. I'm going to say I need a fan base. Okay, so I got to listen to the Kyle Schwarber home run off of Garrett Cole. I just absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. Because Kyle Schwarber just hitting absolute nukes lately. And as you all said, you guys hate the Yankees. So do I. I think all four of us are in agreement that we hate the Yankees. It's pretty self-explanatory. Otherwise, came home, got to see the smile on Trevor Davis's face, which I absolutely love seeing because you don't get to see it very often because his sports teams are just kind of in a rut. And he gets very angry quick. So it was great to see him happy. Gave him a high five, told him Red Sox are going to the World Series, and they'll probably lose to the Brewers.
I don't even think the Brewers are going to the World Series.
Let's go.
Hey, you're with 3 Brewers fans right now. You got to relax.
I understand that.
You get out of line. We know where you sleep.
I don't care. You think I'm scared of any of you?
Yes.
It should be.
Very much so.
I'm not.
Anyway, I feel like that's my number one transition word is anyway. It's just like moving on. Just when I thought that Tuesday's game like couldn't be topped, we got to Wednesday. And like as entertaining as Tuesday's game was, I think I enjoyed Wednesday's game just a tad bit more because not only did it have a better broadcast, because we're all 4 of us are broadcasting students. For those of you who don't know, Will Thomas is also a broadcasting student here at Western Illinois University. The 3 of us obviously met in broadcasting class, but that 4th guy that was in class who just didn't get to be a part of our show was Will. So he went and started his own show. It's not like we don't like Will. It's just I don't know what happened. Why have we had you on the DDT show before?
I think it was just because we had the radio show and we're just like, well, Will wasn't there.
Yeah, it's tough to get 4 people into the 88.3 The Dog Studio.
I don't know if he brings the right energy either.
Whoa. Relax.
I mean, Will, can you say mean things about Trevor and bash on Trevor?
Oh, easily, but I prefer bashing on Dane. So I think I would have brought a little different side of things.
Hey, I'm a lot bigger than you, little guy.
This is a Trevor bashing show. We don't that bashing of Dane before was something that was like it wasn't like usual. Like we don't usually do that. It's usually a Trevor thing. So sorry, you can't be a part of the DDT show. That's why we couldn't have Will on.
That makes more sense now.
Anyway, there it is. Wednesday, Dodgers Cardinals. Cardinals go ahead 1-0. Max Scherzer, in my opinion, looked like complete and utter garbage. Like he wasn't doing Max Scherzer things. And if you look at near the end of the season, heck, his last start in the season, I think he allowed 11 hits and I can't even remember how many runs against the Padres. And he just kind of continued that. Dodgers, however, their pitching after Scherzer kind of stepped up. Their bullpen didn't allow any runs. And then their offense kind of backed it up. 3-1 Dodgers walk-off win. Dane, we're going to go in reverse order this time. What did you see in Wednesday's game, and what was your favorite moment of Wednesday's game?
Well, the Dodgers bullpen just proved that they are just fantastic. Blake Trinan throws absolutely nasty stuff. So does Bruce Dargatero. It's amazing. Like I couldn't get over it. But I mean, obviously my favorite moment is probably the Chris Taylor walk-off. I mean, it's a walk-off home run in a 1-1 ball game. I needed something interesting. It was a great game. Don't get me wrong. Just that walk-off is obviously the highlight of the game.
It's a walk-off home run, and the other two, you guys can chip in also if you want. But it's a walk-off home run from a guy who, as Brian Anderson put it, does not hit home runs, which is which I think made it even that much better, was it's a guy who doesn't typically, do that kind of stuff. And it's bottom of the ninth inning, runner on second. Like it's what every kid who's growing up playing Little League, youth baseball, literally it's what you dream of, to be in a playoff game, bottom of the ninth inning, and you hit a walk-off home run. And you can't write it better than that. And that's all I have to say about that. Trevor Davis. Actually, no, we go Will Thomas. We're going reverse order. Will Thomas.
Ooh. So the big storyline that I thought I saw out of that game was how Dave Roberts is going to use his pitching. I personally think Scherzer did not pitch well, but he was finding his rhythm. And then the pull, granted, he was at 94 pitches, but I thought he was finding his stride, finding his step, and going to have a good outing. And we saw Dave Roberts really yank the chain and get him out early. Granted, it's a wild card game, but I think we're going to see going forward, it's going to be a short leash on every single starter for the Dodgers, because like Dane said, that Dodgers bullpen is fantastic. It's tough from all the way through. And so it's going to remind me a little bit about like the 2018 Brewers, how, we just try to get our starter through 4 innings to get to that bullpen, because the bullpen's so tough. But that's the big thing I saw. Pitching duel, which I think we'll see a lot of, definitely with the Dodgers Giants series, but 2 different games, both great games. I did prefer the Tuesday night game more because I'm more of a fan of offense, not pitching, but they were both great games.
I think for me, the reason I liked Wednesday better was I think I was just more on the edge of my seat. Like it was because I after the Red Sox got ahead, I'm just like, I had no doubt in my mind Red Sox were winning that game. That was just me obviously being hopeful for one, but it was also just watching on the TV. It's just like the Yankees don't look like they're ready to play right now. Where Wednesday, it's just like we're literally sitting on the edge of our seats. It's just like I have no idea who's going to win this game. I just want someone to hit the ball and like surprise me, and that's personally why I like Wednesday. But I totally understand too. Tuesday was it was a great week for baseball. Closing out talking about Dodgers Cardinals. Trevor Davis, your thoughts?
I didn't think Scherzer was really that bad. I mean, he only gave up 1 run. He was a little wild in the first inning. I'll give him that. But he wasn't like mowing everybody down. But I don't think you can expect really anybody to just mow people down, especially in the playoffs when everything's just this big. But I mean, he got out of big spots though, which is really all you can ask for a pitcher in the playoffs, is getting out of big spots with minimal damage. And he really didn't allow any damage for both these pitchers. Really, Scherzer and Wainwright just. What was it, like second or third inning? Wainwright had bases loaded, 1 out, gets a double play, gets out of the inning, nothing happens. So, I mean, I think they both pitched very, very well. Like, it wasn't like your classic, like, pitcher's duel. Everybody's just 3 up, 3 down, 3 up, 3 down. But I think they did their jobs limiting damage and making sure that they kept their team in a position to win. But obviously, the Chris Taylor home run was sick. I mean, who doesn't love a good old walk-off home run, especially in your home park? Like, that's sick. You can only walk off in your home park, you moron. But yeah, it was really, really cool. I like that. I think it was just a good game. It was obviously, like David said, a lot different from Tuesday. But I think it was still a pretty good game. It was a really entertaining game to watch. I just like watching the Dodgers bullpen. Just the guys that they pull out of there throwing like 97-mile-an-hour demon sinkers are just. I want to know where they find them. Like,
so for me, before we move on from this game, for me, I think for the Cardinals, I don't think it was their pitching that necessarily lost the game. Obviously, Alex Reyes gave up the walk-off home run. Like, yes, if it had anything to do with pitching, I think he's the only pitcher for the Cardinals who actually did something wrong. Adam Wainwright, 5 1/3 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Adam Wainwright put the Cardinals in a position to win, in my opinion. I think he went out there, did everything he could. He was looking for a guy who, he's 40, right? For a guy who's 40, he looked like he was, an up and coming 27-year-old stud pitcher. And he did exactly what he needed to do. And there were plenty of instances where the Cardinals could have scored. I think the final was what? They were 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position Wednesday night. That's not on your pitching. Everybody else, they only allowed the first, 4 pitchers who were in before Alex Reyes allowed 6 hits and 1 run. Like the pitching staff is putting you in a position to win. And when you're going 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position, that just can't, that can't happen. That's a team that doesn't deserve to be in the playoffs, in my opinion. And which Cardinals fans on that big streak, they're talking to Brewers fans. It's like, oh, hey, look, we just beat you. We're winning 17 games in a row. And it's just like, okay, win in the playoffs. Because that's all that, because I can't remember what year that was, but when wasn't it the Indians who won? I think that was 2017, right? When the Indians won like 21 games in a row or whatever, set the new record for consecutive wins or whatever. And they got swept in the first round in the divisional series.
Yep.
If my memory serves me correct.
Yeah.
So it's just like regular season doesn't mean crap if you can't win in the playoffs. Because Christian Yelich tweeted out earlier this week. It's like 162 games down, season starts today. That's an accurate depiction of baseball. It's okay, cool. You won 100 games during the regular season. Now win these games now, and that's all that matters. So I think the Cardinals, in short, I think the Cardinals pitching did their job. Cardinals hitting was non-existent. But we move on. So now we got the wild card games out. And then we had last night, the American League had their first games of the divisional series. And, well, we had an outcome that I was not surprised about and that I actually thought was going to happen and I think is going to continue to happen. The White Sox got embarrassed. And that's I'm not going to put it lightly or anything. That's just what it was. 6-1 was your final yesterday between the Astros and the White Sox. And I think if there was a divisional winner who I would have picked from the beginning to that just wasn't going to do anything in the playoffs, for me, it would have been the White Sox. I've never been the AL Central is the AL Central. I'm pretty sure the White Sox were the only team to finish over 500 in the AL Central. What are your guys' thoughts on that game, on the White Sox, on the Astros? Was this the Astros showing dominance, or was it the White Sox just not showing up? Someone can
I think it was more just, Will, that's awkward.
Yeah. Trevor, no. Trevor, stop talking. We don't want to hear your voice.
Fair.
Yeah, I can bash on Trevor.
Trevor bashing.
No, I can start this one. No, I think I wouldn't say the Astros are great. They come out, and me, Dane, and Trevor had a segment on Love the Neck Insider this week where we talked about that Houston is different when it comes to October. They play differently. The energy is different. And they showed that last night, or yesterday afternoon, really, because the game was at like 3:00 in the afternoon. But I think the biggest thing that I'm taking out of that game is how hard it is for road teams to win. No road team has won in the playoffs yet. 4 games in, no road team has won yet. It's showing that once a home team gets a lead, it is so hard, pretty much impossible to dig yourself out just because of the energy and the flow. And game 1 brings so much more energy than I think any other game in the series, other than probably a game 7, because everybody wants to win game 1 because you want to start out. So that's what I really saw. The White Sox laid an egg. They came out. Pitching was not great. The bats, they had to go, believe to their 9-hole hitter to finally get that first hit in the 3rd inning. So the White Sox laid an egg. Offense did not perform. And gave credit to the Astros. They came out with energy, came out attacking, came out running the bases like they wanted to run them all day. So I give credit to the Astros. It'd be interesting to see with game 2 today on if anybody makes adjustments, because Tony La Russa is not a guy, I don't think, to really make many adjustments during the series. And I think that's going to hurt the White Sox in the end of the day. Okay, Trevor, you can speak now.
Okay. Basically what I was about to say is I don't think that the White Sox are bad. I think it's more so just kind of what Will said. The Astros are a different team in October. They know how to win. Himself is going to be absolutely electric for that game. Not saying that Chicago won't, but like Houston's electric for that game. They're going to get up. They're going to be there. And it just, they know how to win in October. I think that's just kind of what it is. The White Sox are very young. They haven't really been here a whole lot. I still think they're a very good team, but I just think it just comes down to the Astros knowing about October baseball and guys playing different in October. So, I mean, I don't think this will be a total squash. I think the White Sox will get maybe a game or two, but I mean, I think this is just Houston's series to lose right now.
Dane, before you say anything, I have a quick question. I know, I'm sorry. So do you guys think that game 3 in Chicago, do you think that'll make a difference? Do you think that home field advantage will push the White Sox over in game 3? Even if they're down 2-0, like hypothetically, say they drop game 2, head to Chicago, Astros are 1 game away from making it to the championship series again. Do you think that the power of the Chicago fan base will give the White Sox what they need to go over an Astros team searching for a clean sweep?
I do. I'm a big fan of fan atmosphere. And the White Sox, I don't know if you guys saw this, announced that they were doing blackout for all their home games, which just is going to make it
that
Chicago.
Terrifying.
Yeah, exactly. And so I already have given game 3 to the White Sox, no matter what the series is going there, because I think you're playing in front of your home fans. They haven't played a playoff game in front of their home fans in what? I don't even know. Long time. Because I want to say probably since because last year they were in Oakland. I don't know. I'm not going to throw out a date and look like an idiot, but I do think that the home field advantage on Sunday, I believe it is, in Chicago will be too much for the Astros. Now, could the Astros win game 4? Absolutely. But I think game 3 in Chicago is going to be electric, and the White Sox pretty much have that one already.
All right, Dane, what back to you now. What were you thinking?
Well, going back on what we were talking about. So obviously I'm going to agree with both of you, because in last week's show with Andy Pascal, I picked the Houston Astros to make to the World Series. That's who I picked. They are a different team come October. The thing that I liked the most yesterday from the Astros was Lance McCullers showed me that he can be a dominant pitcher in the major league. I kind of had some doubt, like him being that ace, him being that game 1 starter yesterday, no doubt in my mind. Because it's not like the White Sox have a scrub lineup. They have a very good and young lineup. He was just mowing them down. He looked fantastic yesterday, going 6 and I think 2/3, something like that. Made it into the 7th, couldn't get out of it, finished with 102 pitches. The Astros as a whole, they put up enough runs to give them that lead the whole game, and then McCullers just settled in. He got in a rhythm. He got dominant. The Astros hitters, they couldn't do anything. They just looked foolish up there. Lance McCullers was an absolute stud yesterday. That's all I have to say.
I mean, that's...
And I'm surprised neither of you brought him up for the pitching performance that he had yesterday.
Well, I brought up that the White Sox were hitless till the 9-hole hitter. That's like bringing that up, isn't it?
But no, it's not.
No, I'm with Will.
I'm also. We've had some cool slides into home yesterday. Oh. We had Jose Altuve. That was, I mean, I love things that just look cool. And I thought the Jose Altuve thing, like the Jose Altuve slide into home, he just made it look so effortless. Where you have I mean, you take anyone else on the Astros team, put them in that situation, I don't think they can make it look as cool as that. I don't think you take anybody from either of those teams and they can make that slide look as cool as it did. Jose Altuve.
Tim Anderson probably.
Tim Anderson
definitely.
He was in the back of my mind, but I wanted to make a point. But yeah, you guys did, and that's fair. Speaking of cool slides into home, moving on to the Red Sox Rays game. Randy Arozarena stole home, made it look effortless, and it was cool for a person who had nothing going in the game. Trevor, I'm sorry.
Sad. I shed a tear.
Shed a tear when he stole, or just shed a tear about the game in general?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair. Good answer. 5-0. So coming off of a big win against the Yankees, the Red Sox put up an old goose egg against the Rays. And again, I don't think, or this is one of those where I don't think it's anything against the Red Sox. I'm taking your guys' argument from the Astros and White Sox game and putting it here. I don't think it's anything against the White Sox. I think this Rays team is just hungry coming off of last year, and they know what it's like to be here more recently than the Red Sox, excuse me. And they're playing, game one, like you guys said, game one, home atmosphere. The Rays just showed up and they just did what they had to do and they got it done. That's all I really need to say. Trevor, your input, sir.
I mean, McClanahan pitched a really good game, but the Red Sox were hitting the ball hard. They just weren't hitting it hard in the air, and they were just hitting it hard right at people. I know Bobby Dahlbeck had 3 balls that were batted over 100 miles an hour. He had a ground into a double play, he had a line out, and he had like a fly out or something like that. So that sucked. They were also like 0 for 7 or 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. That's not going to help. They left 8 guys on. So that's like, I'm not saying the Red Sox deserved to win that game because they did not, quite frankly. But I don't think it was like super duper dominant. Like, oh, the Red Sox won't be able to do anything in this series. I think it was just they were hitting the ball hard. They were just hitting it right at guys, which sucked. But I mean, the Rays have a really good defense, which helps. I saw a pitch chart of McClanahan in that game. You're just hammering the zone, basically saying like, my defense is awesome. Hit the ball. So the Red Sox hit the ball, but they just hit it right at guys. They didn't get great contact. They didn't draw any walks, which sucked. And they only chased like 5 times, and they didn't draw any walks. So I mean, it's just that kind of sucks. But I mean, if they're gonna pound the zone, you got to make them pay, and the Red Sox did not, quite frankly. So.
You bring up the Rays defense, and just the one play that stands out in my mind is when Kiermaier just absolutely lost that fly ball in center field, and it just it's just where is it? And then it drops, and then the Red Sox have the bases loaded, and then just didn't score, which was upsetting.
My favorite thing about like outfielders losing things, like either in the center and the like roof of the trop, is that they just like look up and expect like the sun or the roof to apologize. There's like, oh, there's a roof there. What's going on? You kidding me?
Yeah.
And then
that's also
another thing. Eduardo Rodriguez did not look very good. That was also a problem. He could not find the zone. That sucked. Yeah, that's all I got. Just Eddie was not very good, which you really hope you get a better start out of your arguably ace. But yeah.
Will and Dane. I mean, Trevor kind of covered everything. You guys have anything to add on to that?
The only thing I would add on is obviously Trevor said it. The Red Sox hit the ball hard. They just hit it right at people. As a road team, you just got to find a way to split. So they just got to find a way to hit the ball hard today and hit it not at people and win game 2. You go back to Boston 1-1. It's a brand new series. So you put game 1 in the past, get ready for game 2. They hit the ball well. They just got to stop hitting it at the defenders. It's that easy.
I would also like to see Rafi with bases loaded come up with a better approach with less than 2 outs. He had a terrible approach in the 8th. If he would have hit a base hit, it would have been a 3-run ball game, and the wheels could have been turning. Fire Eisen threw him some high cheddar, and he just completely missed.
You have not seen enough Rafael Devers at bats.
No, because it's okay. Yeah, I'm just saying.
I'm sorry.
It's October. He should have a better approach with bases loaded in the game one. You'd think so, yes.
But it's Rafael
he's got you fooled, Dave.
Maybe he's just swallowing the chew in his cheek or something. Because that thing is just massive.
I watched him literally like swish it around in his mouth and then put it back in. And I'm just like, oh, please tell me that was gum. Because if that was chew, that was just disgusting. Because it was like this big. Oh, gosh. Yeah. No, I even asked Dane, I'm just like, is that chew or is he chewing on like gum or something? And Dane's like, nope, he's got a hog in. And I'm just like, yeah, okay. That'll do it to you. And Will, you said something splitting the series that, I mean, especially with these division series, it's 5 games. If you can split those first 2 games, that's huge because then you head back to your place, got that home field advantage, and you have the possibility of you getting those then 2 games and taking the series. That's definitely huge in the divisional series. In the championship series, splitting the first 2 games, while it's still big, it doesn't have as much of an impact because obviously you have to win in that extra game, so you have more of the opportunity. But yeah, definitely in these 5-game series, splitting those first 2 games is definitely huge. One more little brief segment before we head to our picks for the weekend. Tonight, game 2. Or this afternoon plus tonight, game 2 of the American League Division Series games. But then also the NLDS starts tonight. You have the Brewers hosting the Braves. And I think, what I just noticed, because for the most part, he's just been engulfed in his graphic, is Will Thomas wearing his Brewers polo. That's a nice Brewers polo.
It's a very nice polo.
Thank you.
For those of you who are just listening, Will has his own background graphic of Wake Up with Will, which his mic and his head and his body sometimes disappear into.
Yeah. I'm not a pro at figuring out like where I have to sit. My mic will disappear during my show. I think during my show this week, my arm disappeared. Like it's a lot of fun.
He's got his arm up and it just.
I mean, your arms are.
Whoa, relax there, bro. Stop shopping at Baby Gavin. Your clothes would actually fit you.
Spit it out. Spit it out today, Junior.
Gosh, this would be fun if it wasn't 4 people. Like if we could have like this energy, but then not have 4 people on, this would be a heck of a show.
Well, that's because you and Trevor don't take shots at me, which I want more of. Like you
don't take shots at me
because I respect people. I don't take shots at Trevor very often.
You take shots at Trevor more than I do.
Trevor, I've been nice to you. I've been very nice to you.
Trevor started taking shots at me on Tuesday. Trevor had too much confidence on Tuesday. I went and listened back to that, and I didn't enjoy. It was even harder to listen to it the second time. Will, you're ugly. Boom, got Will. I'm sorry, that's not true. I'm sorry,
that was
Will.
Fair.
That was aggressive, but so okay. Mean. I'll take it.
It's not even true. Like that's the thing. Like I don't believe that for a second. Like at all.
Yeah, because he was looking cute last night.
Yeah, stop.
All right, we are getting a little off topic, guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. So we got Brewers and Braves. I think besides the fact that the Brewers are playing tonight, I think the other thing that I'm super excited about is that the Brewers have Don Orsillo broadcasting this series, which don't get me wrong. I love Brian Anderson. Brian Anderson is really, 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 really good at what he does. But I love Don Orsillo so much.
I think you could have added one more really. That would have been spot on for how good he
really would have hammered the point home.
Yeah. But anyway, because if the Brewers, when the Brewers make the NLCS, then we'll have Brian Anderson, which will make it that much better. But so you have that. And then you have the series where it's the Dodgers versus the Giants. And it's what we talked about last week as the possibility of happening. It's what we talked about last week. Is kind of silly that you have the two best teams in the MLB playing each other in the NLDS. Let's start with the Brewers Braves first. What do you guys expect from this series? What are you looking for most out of this series? And screw it. I mean, we kind of did it last week, but Will, we didn't get your opinion. Let's get who do we think is coming out of this series? Unbiased. We have established the three of us are Brewers fans.
Well, I'm still gonna pick the Brewers, David.
Yeah, like
it's like based on who's the better team. The Brewers are the better team when it comes to them.
But I'm just for you listeners at home. These are unbiased picks brought to you by the DDT Show and Wake Up with Will. Okay, got that disclaimer in there. Let's do this.
Yeah. So when it comes to let's start with the Braves Brewers series. The biggest thing that I want to see is if the Brewers offense can find their stride. I think to end the season after they kind of clinched the postseason, the offense went downhill a little bit. They kind of they weren't playing their best baseball. So it's going to be all about, can you bring that energy and bring that bats back? Because I don't know if you're going to need the big bats in this series, but in the NLCS, you're going to need the big bats. In the World Series, you're going to need the big bats. So that's what I really want to see in this series, is use this series as a jumpstart to get the offense going. I think today's game one is going to be the Brewers. All three of us Brewer fans have been to a Brewers postseason baseball game. Am I correct, Dane? You've been to one, correct? So we know what that atmosphere can be like inside of that stadium. David, you go into two NLCS game ones. I've been to game two. Dane you're at game two, weren't you too, of the NLCS?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. So I think Milwaukee's going to be electric. The Brewer AmFam Field, or AKA Miller Park, is going to be electric. But that's what I want to see. I want to see if the Brewers offense can get jump started today and through the series. Brewers in 4.
So to end the year, just like the Brewers offense, I'd say the Brewers pitching wasn't that great either. Burns, Woodruff, and Peralta didn't look as dominant as I was hoping. I understand it's towards the end of the year. You don't want to utilize them as much as you would say come May. Like you're not gonna have them throw 7 innings and no hit baseball. Or not no hit baseball, but like 3 hit baseball. So I am curious to see how the Brewers starting rotation will be, and then how their bullpen will be without Devin Williams. Obviously, it was just thing.
We're having technical difficulties where we can't hear Dane.
I'm going to try to transcribe.
So out of my back.
Yeah, you're back.
You're back. We didn't hear anything about Devin Williams' hand.
We heard Devin Williams, and then you just froze.
Okay, Devin Williams, guys, for all of you that do not know, punched the wall drunk, and he has a broken hand, so he cannot pitch in the playoffs. So what I was saying before I lagged was I don't think, obviously he's a great pitcher, but I think the Brewers bullpen top to bottom is solid. I think they're a good bullpen. That's just how they've been the last 4 years. I think they'll be able to help. So I don't think the offense will have much pressure to put up, say, 6 to 5 runs. I think if they put up 3 runs, they can definitely win a ball game. I don't see the Braves without Acuna winning. That's just simple as that. Acuna's a 5-tool player. He's fantastic. I think the Brewers are going to win in 4 also. That's kind of all I have to say.
Yeah, I like Brewers in 4. I like Brewers in. Their pitching's way too good. I don't know what else to say. They covered it.
I was about to for me you guys did bring up the good points about the hitting. Obviously, offense throughout this season, like it was there. There were clutch moments by the offense, but then there were also games like Brandon Woodruff. Dude's a stud, but he has way too many. This is why win-loss is not the stat. Like it's kind of just a bogus stat to determine if a pitcher is good or not, because Brandon Woodruff had plenty of 6-inning outings where he got the loss because he allows 1 run and then the offense gets goose-egged. Like so like the offense just needs to find that consistency throughout the playoffs. Will, you brought up the point that I was going to bring up. I think the thing I'm most excited about is playoff baseball back in Milwaukee. The city showed how rowdy, the state of Wisconsin showed how rowdy and supportive and electric it can be for a playoff situation when the Bucks just won the NBA championship. Everyone is still riding off that high, and I think the city will burn to the ground if the Brewers make the World Series and or win the World Series. I don't think Milwaukee will be standing afterwards because this city cannot take it. So I'm really looking forward to, because yeah, like you said, Will, we've all been to it. I've been to the two times that the Brewers have made the NLCS. Like you said, I've been to game one. It's just been electric. It's an atmosphere unlike any other. You have drunk, rowdy Wisconsinites. Dane just absolutely legged off of the podcast. There are now 3 of us. Holy cow. Welcome back, Dane. I think the pitcher in the Brewers starting rotation that I'm worried a little bit about, which it's not like there's much to worry about because he'll definitely step up. But Corbin Burns, I think there's been stretches this season where he gets a tad bit inconsistent and he might just have a bad outing. I think tonight he needs to start off strong. I think he needs to set the tone for the Brewers, and I think it's up to him. I think if Corbin Burns has a good outing, I think the offense, especially in Milwaukee with that atmosphere, will rally behind him, put up a couple runs. I don't think the Braves will win in Milwaukee. On paper, the Braves should not win in Milwaukee, but we've seen the last couple times that teams have played in Milwaukee that they can, like back in 2018, the Rockies almost took game 2. It came down to a Mike Moustakas walk-off hit. The Dodgers took game 2 on a late Justin Turner home run. So I can see the Braves taking a game in Milwaukee. I don't think it will or should happen. I do think 4 games is logical. I don't think this Brewers team is capable of a division sweep. I think, like, you give me that face, Dane, and it's like, yes, can they get the sweep? Yeah, I just don't think it's. I think it's a team that's
safe to go in 4.
It's safe to think that in Atlanta, in Atlanta, they'll win a game. And I think it's logical. Moving on, Dodgers Giants. I don't even know what to say about this series. Yeah, I think it's going to be some entertaining baseball. I honestly think there is a possibility that this series can be done in 5 games. I can't tell you who's going to win it. I think there's a possibility.
Considering there are only 5 total games, like that's
right. I was thinking, why is this not a 7-game series?
5 games.
Yeah, no, I deserve that. Because can we just make this division series a 7-game series?
I do think this is going to be the best series in baseball, and I do think it's going 5 games.
Yeah. I see. The point I was trying to make was, I think a team can show it. It's like so. Okay, in the end, I think it could be a 3-1 series. That's the point I was trying to make. If it was a 7-game series, I think one of the teams could take it 4-1 is the point I was trying to make. But that's right. It's only a 5-game series, which this series has so much potential between the Dodgers and the Giants that I just want it to be 7 so we can see it go to 7 and see these teams just absolutely kill each other, because that would be such good baseball. I meant to say such good baseball, because that's the point I'm trying to make. This is going to be good baseball, guys. Great baseball. Does anybody have anything they want to talk about this, or do we want to move on to picks?
Go Giants.
Go Dodgers.
Going to win this series.
That's a so. And Trevor, you can answer this too. But in terms of who you would want to face out of these 2 teams in the playoffs, which one would you pick? So obviously, as us, we're saying if the Brewers make the championship series, what team would we rather face? But just as a team, who would you rather face?
I would rather face neither of them.
Good pick. Giants. Good pick. Good pick.
But if I had to pick, I think I'd go with the Giants. Just because the Dodgers won last year, and they have. Obviously, there's a lot of guys still kind of left over from that Giants run. But I think that the Dodgers, being the more recent champions, I think they're just a little bit more scary than the Giants are, personally. But
and especially with the Dodgers team with Max Scherzer and Trey Turner now. Both of them have a World Series ring.
Yeah.
I'd much rather face the Giants.
Yeah.
I'm different. Brewers never play well in San Francisco. I want the home field advantage. Bring on the Dodgers. Their pitching staff will be dead by the end of that series. Brewers win Game 6. Brewers win Game 7. Brewers in 7 going to the World Series. Calling it right now.
The only reason I would want to play the Dodgers is to say that the Brewers beat the Dodgers to go to the World Series and have that payback. But I wouldn't see that happening. I feel like the Dodgers would almost steamroll the Brewers if they made it to the championship series. And by steamroll, I mean 6 games. I wouldn't see that series going to 7. I'm just scared of that pitching. And like we talked about, the Brewers offense kind of been inconsistent through the season. I don't know if they would get past Dodger pitching in the playoffs. So I think I'd rather face the Giants. Not that the Giants are a bad team. It's a lose-lose situation either way because both are just dominating teams. But I think I'd rather see the Giants in the championship series. So that's the playoffs. That's the MLB. It's gonna be a fun weekend of baseball, boys. Fun weekend of baseball. But there's also going to be some good football on this weekend. Segue accomplished. Boom! I was proud of that one. Sorry. College football tomorrow has 3 pretty solid games going on. There's other good games going on, but we have 3 of them in this week's edition of picks. And I'm going to make sure that I type everybody's picks in the correct areas so that we don't have a mix-up like we did on this Tuesday. For those of you who have not listened to our show before, we have 6 athletic events, because not all of them are football this week, but we have 6 athletic events that we choose from, and we just say, hey, here's who we think are going to win, and it's kind of for bragging rights. Look at the standings. I am in last. I went 2-4 last week. Dane is in third at 3-3. Our guests, which we've only had one, but they are in second at 4-2, and Trevor Davis is the reigning champion at 5-1. So Will, you as a guest are in a good position. Andy Pasco going 4-2 last week. So keep the guests going alive and make Coach Pasco proud.
Yeah, I'm just hoping to make Coach proud.
All right, we're gonna start with some college football. Number 13 Arkansas versus number 17 Ole Miss. Both teams coming off of losses to very good SEC teams in Georgia and Bama last week. So both of them looking for that, bounce back win. Let's start off with the guest. Will, who do you got?
Ole Miss by far. They didn't look great against Alabama, but they also played Alabama. Arkansas overrated. Wasn't able. They were a top 10 team and couldn't put a point on the board. Got beat 38-0. Like, that says something. I'm taking Lane Kiffin. I'm taking Ole Miss.
Yeah, you took the words right out of the mouth, so I'll go out of my mouth. Excuse me. So I'll go next. I have Ole Miss. Trevor Davis, who you got?
I'm also going to go Ole Miss. I just really like Matt Corral. I think he's going to be dynamic. Like Will said, Arkansas coming off a game where they didn't score any points. That makes me a little nervous. But, Ole Miss.
I mean, does anybody – Dane, I'll let you make your pick first. Who you got?
I'm going to go Ole Miss as well. They put up 21 on Alabama's defense. I don't think Arkansas's defense is as Alabama. And Jefferson did not look good last week, and he still looks hurt.
The point I was gonna make was, does anybody think that Arkansas might have that chip on their shoulder of we should have scored against Georgia and to come out this one firing on all cylinders?
No.
Nope. Cool. Neither do I. The Red River Showdown, Red River Rivalry. This one is
there you go.
Yeah. No, I know. Let me do my thing, Trevor. Okay. Gosh.
No.
This one is near and dear to Trevor's heart. Trevor, will let you pick first.
I think Oklahoma. Just because like Oklahoma hasn't looked great, but they've found ways to kind of get by and get their wins. They haven't been pretty, but they've been, successful. Like they've won the games, which is what counts. And I think they find a way to get by Texas. I still don't fully trust Texas. I don't know if I ever will fully trust Texas, but I think Oklahoma wins this fairly close.
Dane McElwee.
Am I lagging on your guy? Okay.
Nope.
There we go. I'm actually going to go against Trevor. I'm going to say Texas wins. They're on a 4-game winning streak, lost to Arkansas. I like the Texas run game. I don't think Oklahoma has a good enough defense. They don't have a defense because it's Big 12 football. And I'm not impressed with Spencer Rattler. When you have your own fans booing you and wanting a true freshman to come in, something ain't right. I think Texas is going to win a close one, though.
Will Thomas.
Ever since Dane picked Texas to win, they lost against Arkansas. They decided they wanted to play, whoever he picked in that game. I'm going against that. Oklahoma's going to win this game. They're going to win it big. Spencer Rattler's going to prove that he's the quarterback, and Texas is going to lay a goose egg. Go Sooners.
For me, I've never been a Spencer Rattler fan. But in this game, it seems like every year anything can happen in this game, even if Texas is bad. It's that rivalry game that everyone, like in those rivalry games, everyone steps up. It's the one game of the season you want to win, even if you're having a crap season. Well, this year Texas, is a top 25 team. They're ready, but I still think Oklahoma it's going to come out on top. Like you can't bet against Oklahoma. I can't believe in Texas. It's against my nature to think Texas will actually do something. I can't in good faith pick. This is one where it's just like, I think we kind of said it last week, where it's just like, wouldn't be surprised if I'm wrong and Texas wins, but I have to pick Oklahoma. That's just, I don't know. That's just how I am. Geez, I can't talk today. It's exactly how I am. Boom. And shout out if you end up ever listening to my good friend JT Mix, horns down. Moving on to our final college football game. This one is near and dear. As I was typing these in, because this was the clear one that we were going to pick, I'm just like, this is kind of like just like College Game Day, where they have the guest picker on and they have that one game that's near and dear to the picker's heart, and that's what we have right here. It's a top 4 matchup, number 3 Iowa versus number 4 Penn State, and I'm going to start with the guy who's going to make the obvious pick, Will Thomas.
Yes.
You have Penn State, right?
Of course. No. Hawks all the way. Last time Penn State came in as the number 4 team, they won on a walk-off TD in 2017. Hawkeyes defense is electric. 7 turnovers last week at Maryland they caused. Hawks, low scoring, but Hawks win 16-9.
16-9. He's got.
I'm gonna weird score.
I'm gonna type that in just so we can 16-9.
When it's correct, just know
Just know that you're there.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Trevor, we'll go to you.
Penn State, because I hate Iowa.
What more reasoning do you need than that? Gosh, I can't type. This is hard. Penn State. Boom. Dane McElwee.
I'm also going to go with Penn State. I think their secondary is too much for Petrus. He's going to look terrible this week. I understand you forced 7 turnovers against Maryland, but I think Sean Clifford makes an adjustment after halftime, and I think Penn State will come out on top. I'm going to say like 17-14, though. It's going to be low scoring. It's going to be low scoring and close. Like, this is going to be a defensive battle. It's going to be fun to watch.
I hate both of these teams. I just do. Like, other than Minnesota and Ohio State, Iowa is my third least favorite team in the Big Ten. Penn State is right after them at number 4. I just can't stand Penn State. But if I had to pick a team, I think the only reason I'm picking Iowa is because they're home for this. Kinnick Stadium, it's electric. If it was at Penn, if they were playing at State College, 100% Penn State, because that's probably one of the toughest places to play in college football. But the fact that they're in Iowa, it's a top 4 matchup. When's the last time Iowa had one of those? Fans are just going to be going rowdy. I have to pick Iowa, and again, I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be, in the one in the trenches, as they say. And as much as I hate to say it, go Iowa. You'll never hear me say those words again. Gave me chills. Moving on to the NFL, we got 2 games this week. First one, and I realized that I had typed it wrong when I first opened the document. So if someone made a pick that was not one of the teams that is listed, I apologize. We have 49ers versus Cardinals. Big game. I had Chargers written on there. Don't know why. So Will, I'm sorry if you picked the Chargers. 49ers versus Cardinals. Dane, we'll start with you.
I'm going to go with the Cardinals. Kyler Murray is looking like an MVP candidate. The defense is looking very good. I think they'll feed off their win against the Rams last week, and I think they'll keep it going.
Trevor?
I'm also going to go with the Cardinals. Kind of the same stuff Dane said. I'm a big Kyler Murray guy. I think he's looked fantastic this year. Their defense is much improved, which I think is going to help them an awful lot. But I like the Cardinals in this one.
Will?
I got the Cardinals as well.
You said you lagged a little bit. You said Cardinals, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Well, this is the second, because we all had Ole Miss. I'm going Cardinals as well. I like how the 49ers look. I don't think they're a bad team. With their defense healthy, their defense still has proven to be a very solid defense this season. But it's their offense that just doesn't get it done for me. And I think the Cardinals will just take advantage of that, and it'll be Cardinals all the way. A big game this week, a rematch of the AFC Championship last year, Bills Chiefs. Mr. Guest Will, who do you got?
Kansas City at home is dominant. They're going to take this one in a high-scoring shootout.
Okay, I respect that. Trevor?
I kind of like the Bills here. Their offense the last few weeks has been flaming hot fire, and the Chiefs' defense has been shaky at best. But I like the Bills in this one.
Dane?
I'm going to take the Chiefs. As Will said, it's going to be a high-scoring battle. I do like the way Josh Allen's looked, but I do not think he will get it done on the road in the late game.
I'm going to go with Trevor on this one. I like the Bills. The Chiefs have they haven't gotten it. I don't think they've played a full game of football this year. I think they've come down to it. I think they kind of got lucky against the Browns. I think the Browns beat themselves week 1. And then obviously it's kind of been a little shaky for the Chiefs from there. I think Josh Allen will go into Kansas City with that chip on his shoulder from the AFC Championship. He wants to show that he's just as dominant of a quarterback as Patrick Mahomes. And I think he's going to step up, and he knows that this is kind of a must win for Buffalo, just to prove that, hey, we're here. We're trying to prove ourselves as a top team in the NFL. So I think it's going to be a high scoring game. Like, I think, like you said, I think it's going to come down to the wire. We might see a walk-off field goal or a late field goal to put someone ahead, but I think it's or even a late touchdown, but I think Buffalo will come on top. And for our first non-football pick here on the DDT show, a big fight for you fans of boxing. Fury versus Wilder 3. First bout ended in a was it a draw or a no contest?
It was a draw.
It was a draw. Okay. I remember reading about it. I couldn't remember if it was a draw or a no contest. Last fight, Tyson Fury won by technical knockout. And so it's been a long time coming, but we finally have the third bout. It takes place tomorrow. Trevor, I'm going to start with you on this one. You're the mixed martial arts fan. You like to follow that. Obviously, this is boxing, so it has nothing to do with MMA. But I'm just going to combat sports. You're the guy. So who do you have?
I don't watch a whole lot of boxing, but I think Tyson Fury is going to win this one. He looked really, really good in the last fight. I knocked him out in like the second or third round, I think, which is
I think it was
nuts.
seventh. I think it was
seventh.
If I remember reading it correctly,
they do really short rounds. I forget that. Yeah. So but he knocked him out. So I think I'm going to go with Tyson Fury.
Will, how about you?
I got Fury as well. That second fight, Wilder really blamed that loss on the fact that he was carrying in so many props. That just showed me that boxing's not his thing. He'd rather do acting. So Tyson Fury's going to win this one in another knockout. Early knockout. Trevor, that's what I was going to ask. Trevor, how do you think Fury will win, and when do you think Fury will win?
I think I'll go Fury by decision.
Fury by decision. Okay. Dane?
I'm going to say neither. They're going to draw again. Wilder will come out completely different because it's obviously the third fight. Will not have the theatrics like he did in match 2, but I still don't see him getting it done. Tyson Fury could not be knocked out in the first fight. We all thought Wilder had him. Couldn't get it. Fury got up. We had a draw. I think same thing's going to happen. I think we're going to draw again. I just want to be different, okay? I was thinking in my head like 18 different scenarios. I'm going to be that guy.
If it's a draw, you will have a shred of my respect for it being a draw for picking that. B, I will be pissed at you because I don't want this fight to end in a draw. If it ends in a draw, the entire world will be mad, and I will make sure they're mad at you.
Well, good thing we don't have the entire world listening to us.
You don't know
107 that. South Albert if you want this smoke.
I'm going with Fury. I can't stand Wilder because, like it was already brought up before, he blamed his last loss on the fact that he was wearing like this super heavy, like basically like mask. Like for those of you like me who are professional wrestling fans, it looked very similar to what Vader used to wear to the ring, except I'm pretty sure it was super heavy. And he blamed it on that. It's just like, okay, that's your own fault. Stop complaining. And that's all. I like Tyson Fury. I got introduced to Tyson Fury through WWE television. And then it's just like, I've just watched some of his highlights and I like it. I think I'm going to go with Trevor. I think I'm going to go decision. I don't know if it can, I will go decision if Wilder doesn't wear something stupid to the ring. If Wilder wears something stupid to the ring, knockout, 5th round. But if he doesn't wear something stupid to the ring, I'm going to go decision. That is all we have on our picks. Very interesting, very exciting weekend of everything. We hope that you enjoyed hearing us talk about baseball, football, and boxing, because one of those things most of us don't know anything about. We'll let you decide which one you think. But thank you to Will Thomas for joining us on this Friday edition of the DDT Show. Give Wake Up with Will a listen. It's on Spotify and YouTube, correct?
Yep.
Spotify and YouTube, released on Wednesdays. It's Will and his mom talking sports. It's a good listen. Go give them a like, share, subscribe, as you usually would with us. Will, any final comments on your time here on the DDT Show?
I just appreciate you guys letting me come in and talk some sports with some real sports people. My mom doesn't know as much as you guys do. I love her, but it's kind of fun to, talk to people who actually know what's going on in the sports world. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Well, that is it for today's edition of the DDT Show. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. Make sure you give us a follow and a subscribe. Make sure you find us on Twitter at the DDT Show. Will, what's your show's Twitter handle?
At Wake Up with Will 1, I believe.
At Wake Up with Will. We'll tag it in our tweet, so you'll be able to give them a follow, give them a listen. But for now, thank you. We will see you on Tuesday and throughout the weekend. Make sure you tweet at us or DM us or text us who your winners and losers over the weekend were. We might give you a shout out on Tuesday's episode. Otherwise, again, feel free to call us losers if you really feel like it. It won't hurt our feelings. It might hurt mine a little bit, but Dane and Trevor, they're stronger than I am. Will is stronger than I am as well. But for now, have a good weekend. Enjoy all of the sports happening, because all of the sports are happening. There's preseason hockey and basketball. There's baseball. There's football. There's boxing. It's going to be a fun weekend, and we hope you enjoy it. Tune in next time here on the DDT Show.
Go Brewers.
And we're out.